For sure. What a difference 10 days makes. We, for years in the United States, have had an attack on the crypto industry. It's been war. And we finally, I think, have a crypto president. The crypto industry has embraced Trump. Trump has embraced the crypto industry.
He really has. He really has.
I think it's very genuine. And I think he sees the opportunity. He sees innovation. He sees entrepreneurship. And look, I'm very excited about what the future holds. I'll point out, you were saying that XRP is up 70+%. Since Election Day, the best performing crypto assets are all U.S. companies or U.S. technologies. This shouldn't be a surprise. The United States SEC has been manipulating and putting pressure on these U.S. companies, U.S. technologies, and now that pressure comes off and they explode upwards. So we shouldn't be surprised by that.
What do you think of Elon Musk building a data center in Memphis that quickly? For the biggest supercomputer in the world.
I'm a big fan of Elon's. I don't know him, but I just think he is remarkable.
Right.
Absolutely remarkable.
This is back to the data center where you do, I am curious, David, we talk about it all the time, power in terms of the constraining factor. Yeah. Give us some sense as to how you see that evolving at this point, whether we're going to be able to meet the needs. And can this just keep going? Is the hyperscalers' money just going to keep flooding in as people seem to think?
All right, you've just given me a lot to talk about, so I hope I have enough time. Because first of all, we had the agricultural age, we had the industrial age, now we're in the digital age. And I don't think there's enough of a recognition that the world is changing significantly, just like it did if you go back to the early 1900s with the industrial age. That's what's happening now. Fundamental to all of that is digital, data centers, because all of this requires holding data somewhere. Data is growing 20% a year, has been for years, is going to go on like that for decades. There is no alternative to data centers right now when it comes to how do you hold data. That includes quantum computing. And even as quantum computing will happen, that requires data centers also, because there's a digital to quantum transformation that has to happen.
You're one of the few. Jensen Wong's thinking about that. You're thinking about that. Honeywell was thinking about it.
But when it comes to building data centers, there's two big issues where you talk to anybody building data centers. One is permitting. The second is power.
Right.
And this is one of the things I'm quite encouraged by the Trump administration currently, because their deregulation push is essential on the permitting side. And you're going to see the same kind of push on the power side with two aspects. One is permitting again, but the second is going to be just generating more power. Because it's not going to be just nuclear. We need a lot more power.
I was going to say that there's some stories on the tape this morning just sort of framing it as a showdown between the nuclear lobby and the nat gas lobby. Is it that simple?
I don't think this is so much a showdown. You're going to have to do all of this stuff. Yeah. And even if you're trying to build the small modular reactors, that's 5 or 6 years before that happens.
I know, 2030.
Like Musk did in Memphis, got to get the natural gas in there right away if you want power.
Yeah, and we do need power. We've underinvested in the grid for decades.
Right.
And this is something that has to go post-haste, in my view, if we're going to support the digital transformation.
There you go, David.
All right.
Moving big right now on some fresh headlines. Our Pippa Stevens is tracking that. Morning, Pippa.
Good morning, Carl. Well, uranium stocks are getting a boost as Russia is reportedly imposing temporary restrictions on the export of enriched uranium to the U.S., according to Reuters. It's in response to the U.S. imposing its own ban on imports of Russian uranium last spring. Now, part of that was thanks to a growing worry in Washington that Russia would weaponize uranium. Now, it's a major player controlling roughly 40% of the global uranium enrichment market and supplying about 14% of U.S. uranium. Mark Nelson from Radiant Energy telling me this alone will not turn the lights off in the U.S., but it's yet another wake-up call to utilities in America that we need nuclear fuel independence as soon as possible. Now, Arthur Hyde from Segra Capital, which invests in nuclear stocks, added this would have very serious implications for the nuclear fuel cycle in the U.S., and that we could see a rush to secure material in what is a traditionally quiet part of the year, adding that this highlights the need to develop Western fuel capacity for national security purposes, the URA and URNM, which track the space, both jumping.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Brad Garlinghouse speaking on the new administration, says that the old administration was at war with crypto and gives a hint that he was meeting with the president. And don't forget the fintech executive order that Trump had signed when he was in office. Ripple was in that document. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Elon Musk data centers discussed on CNBC. And that data center is in Memphis. And we know, guys, Memphis is biblical. Not going to get into it. That's in my book. And we have Russia putting restrictions on uranium to the U.S. And they supply us with 14%. And yes, guys, you heard that correct. And we not even in 2025 yet. The movie is just starting to get good. There are so many moving pieces. And then also you have so many distractions now that Trump is in office. Remember, he's going to deliver the distractions while the NWO is building behind the curtain. And then we have the Fed's Gooseby on the Fed cutting rates. They're not in a rush. And we know for a fact they're not in a rush because they want to destroy this legacy market so this fourth industrial revolution can rise. And he stated they're not going back to zero. Remember, they went to zero so they could take over the world. They're not going back to zero, and they don't need to because this new digital economy is not even real. It's a video game. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Will be a lot lower than where they are now. That's where the neutral, that's where we need to settle. I took from the chair's comments that we're not, I like this phrase, that we're not in a hurry to automatically get there. And I do think if there's disagreement of what's the neutral rate, it does make sense at some point to start slowing how rapidly you're getting there, just to figure out, given the lags of monetary policy, are we at neutral? Are we getting close to neutral? But the overall through line is, I was saying before the election, and I'm going to say now after the election, it has nothing to do with the election. It has to do with what the conditions are. And to me, the conditions on the dual mandate side are looking pretty balanced. And so we should be thinking over the next year and a half, the rates need to come down. The rate was zero. I mean, we were at zero for a long time, real rates of negative numbers. I don't think it's going to go back to that, in my opinion, but that's different than saying, do you think the rates now are neutral? I don't think they're neutral. I think we're still in a restrictive position. And that said, on fiscal policy, like I always say, Joe, our job, like the Midwest, where there's no bad weather, only bad clothing, those are the conditions of the economy. And if Congress does whatever they're going to do, and that affects employment and inflation, then the Fed has to take that into account, but only indirectly. We're always watching the conditions and trying to figure out what's going to happen.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust. and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.